I was curious about what happened last season with you and Eugenie writing the episode that brought Charlie back, and what you could tell us about that, because I know you guys obviously wrote the episode where she died. I know it wasn't your fault.
It
was assigned to you, and then you got to bring her back. So can you tell us about how that happened?
The idea of bringing her back? The specifics of the episode.
The idea, and then what you wanted to put into that, Charlie.
You know, I think from the moment Charlie died, there was a little hole in the show, and I think everybody felt it. I know we felt it. There was just that voice was missing, and I think once we opened up the possibility of an alternate world, everybody kind of said, "Gee, if this is a world of doppelgangers." She's a natural go-to doppelganger because that voice was missing in the show. And I think what's interesting about it is that Sam and Dean look at this person, look at Charlie Bradbury from the other world, and it triggers all their sense memories, and they just can't help just want to throw their arms around her and make her that kid sister that they had. And she's like, I don't really know you guys, because there was no Sam and Dean in that world.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's an interesting place to start building a relationship from. And now that they've come through the door, and their ostensible enemy, Michael, came through the door also, there's no reason for them to go back immediately.
Yeah.
And because the enemy is here.
Yeah.
So she is going to be here for the duration, and they've got a relationship to build. So how she fits into the team has all got to be worked out, and she does. She becomes part of it and has her own cases that she's going to go out on. And it not only adds back a really wonderful character, but it's a cool way to open up the storytelling. There's now more people than just Sam and Dean on the case.
Yeah.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, you guys hit 300 episodes this season, correct?
Yes.
So can you tell us anything about what's going into the plans for that?
I know it's going to be one of those really interesting episodes that we attempt now and then, and so far I think they've come off really well. So this could be either great or just a horrible disaster, and we'll go into hiding. But it's going to be interesting. It's going to be its own thing, and I think we hit it. I think it's episode 13. I think is it 300? Yeah. So I think if it comes off, it'll be very cool.
So with Dean being possessed, will it be a while before we see like a Monster of the Week episode again?
They are gonna start coming in. They're relatively early in the season, but and I think this is going to be true of the storytelling this season in general, is that the myth arc is going to be represented even in the standalones. The standalones are really not going to be pure standalones anymore, especially with the collapsed season. Especially, you're going to see that. So, because there's so many things going on at the outset of the season, those have to be kept alive, even if there's a monster. So the monster aspects are going to probably be married a little bit to the myth arc.
Do you have any favorite type of monster to write about that you'd like to bring back?
I love the angel demon thing because I think the politics of the angels in heaven and hell are so interesting. Lucifer is just one of my favorites. Because I think he's so complicated and interesting. I don't think this is somebody who gets up in the morning saying, how can I do evil today? I think he actually has a point of view. If you were to sit him down, he would explain to you how he's misunderstood, and he really is trying to accomplish a good thing. So I think Lucifer is probably always one of my favorites to write, and and who knows what's going to happen with Lucifer this year.
How does it feel from having 20 episodes instead of 23? Like, as you're sort of thinking about the way the season and the arcs are going to play out, does it feel like it makes a difference?
It's not that much of a difference between 20 and 23, particularly I think there'll probably be as many myth episodes as there always were, and as I said, I think they're going to be strung more now through the quote-unquote standalones. Mm-hmm. So I think there's actually going to be a stronger sense of the storytelling. It's going to seem more cohesive this year than in past years, I hope.
Are there any new characters or
Well, it's going to be new
Yes.
versions of characters in that we've got Bobby and Charlie coming from the alternate world. Rowena is going to come back and be a strong part of the season. And there is somebody lurking in the horizon who I think is going to be a very interesting character to explore that will resurface very, very soon. It will surface soon in the season, but I think it's following that story is going to be very interesting.
I have a question about Michael and Dean in terms of what you have put together so far. I think not so much a concern, but a large question from people is obviously Jensen is never going to skip an episode, but will we see episodes that do not feature the character of Dean Winchester at all, even inside Michael's head?
It's not going to. We're not going to go too deep in the season with Dean not being Dean.
Yeah.
And so, first of all, you can see Dean physically on screen.
Yes.
But once Dean is Dean, then he may or may not stay Dean. So you just never know. But we're not going to go too long without Dean.
Yeah. No, I was more curious if we'd be seeing episodes where Michael is the only character Jensen's playing, or if we'll see Dean inside Michael's head, the way we saw Cass inside Lucifer's head.
Right. No, there absolutely will be characters where you don't see Dean.
Episodes where we do not see Dean.
No, we're just seeing Michael.
Interesting.
And find out later that Dean was witness to a lot of these horrible things.
Yes.
Yeah, and is traumatized by flashbacks of what happened.
Wow.
Yeah. 'Cause that's a terrible burden to be helpless inside your own body, doing really awful things that you only remember fragments of.
So you talked a little bit about Rowena's going to be back, which
Yes.
I'm excited about that. I love that character. Can you tell us about how she's going to play into the new season?
I can't fully because it plays into, it's a very strong part of a storyline that has yet to surface, but she becomes a very integral part of this piece of story that's going to come down the road, not all that far into the season.
I know they hinted at, talked about how Jodie will come back at some point. Is there any other plans to kind of bring in any of the Wayward Sisters characters throughout the season?
I don't know beyond the one. I know fairly early on, in the first run of episodes, Jodie is back, and maybe a little piece of Claire, and so they figure into the story pretty early on. And I know that there's plans. Well, I know there's plans for another character from the show that comes up pretty quickly. So you're going to see pieces of that throughout the season.